Here we go. The model's trending over the past 24 hours with a snow and ice storm. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice, keeping you up to date on what's going on. If you're new to this channel, wherever you're watching from, please consider liking this video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, as we will keep you posted around the clock here at WYFF News 4 about what could be coming our way later this week. What you need to know here is that nothing is set in stone, but as we look toward this week, there's a system that comes through Sunday into Monday that cools us down, and then late in the week, there's another system that could come our way once we're already cold that now looks like could be a little bit of a mixture of snow and ice where you're at. So here's what's new right now. The NOAA, the Weather Prediction Center, puts out these outlooks. Now it's 6-7 days out, so we're still early, but the pattern is there for us to possibly see something as we go into next Friday into Friday night. So you see the areas that could be impacted by right here, highlighted by the Weather Prediction Center. This is a new outlook here that includes Arkansas, parts of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, upstate South Carolina, western North Carolina from Charlotte northwestbound through Virginia, West Virginia, all of Tennessee into Kentucky. So this could be a wide-reaching storm that could impact many. And here's honestly where it starts out at. It's a big blast of cold air that comes in with this system Sunday into Monday. It's cold now, but wait till you see where we get into this upcoming week. Lows in the teens, even single digits possible across the higher elevations of North Carolina. It is going to be really, really cold, and that cold air stays with us all week with a secondary surge coming in here Wednesday, Thursday. That coincides with the time frame of this system coming in. So we know it's going to be cold. What do the models say? Well, first things first, there's a system that comes through Sunday. That's what brings in the cold air, but it's also what brings in some freezing rain. Winter storm warnings and watches out for snow on the north side of it in Kentucky, Tennessee through Virginia, and then ice possible here across the higher elevations, and especially those eastern facing slopes of the mountains going into Monday morning. So eastern Henderson County, eastern Transylvania County, those typical trouble spots on the eastern facing slopes will get some. By afternoon, it's changing over to some snow in the higher elevations, where this is a pretty good snow event from Boone, Beach Mountain up through Virginia into other parts of the Appalachian Mountains. So what do the models say here about some snow? It's going to be quite a good snow event here for northern tiers here through the Midwest, but the model's really painting on some ice possibilities with some slick spots here across, again, eastern and higher facing slopes of the mountains. Should not be an issue in the upstate or lower elevations of the mountains. Let's get to this other system because I want to show you all three reliable computer models here. They are all painting a very similar story, which is what you want to see whenever you're tracking these type of systems, is you want to see some consistency in the models. And here's what they're showing today. Let's start with our reliable, trusty Euro. It is showing a low pressure. Like I've been showing you the past few days, pattern recognition is where we're at right now, being a week out. Does the pattern recognize a low pressure system or a chance for snow? And the answer is yes. Thursday night, Friday were cold. Friday afternoon's one of those days where it could start off as a little bit of rain, then changes over to either ice showing up here Friday afternoon, Friday evening in upstate South Carolina, North Georgia, Tennessee, western North Carolina, all getting some snow. And this would paint a dire ice situation Friday night into Saturday. Time frame is plus or minus Friday. This European model wants to paint a little bit slower than the rest of them into early Saturday morning, but then it would be gone by about 7 a.m. to about 10 a.m. with it changing over and being cold into the weekend, and not much comes in behind that there. But you get the picture as it stays cold through mid-month, with us getting that opportunity late in the week for some snow and ice. So this model, the European, shows quite a bit of snow for western North Carolina, anywhere from 5 to 10 inches showing up here from Hendersonville and Asheville up through the high country and ski country, loving that. 3,500 feet and above could see 5, 6, 7, 8 inches. Northern half of the upstate could see 1 inch of snow, but it's more of an ice situation, unfortunately, showing up on the European model. As I pan this out, is showing 0.3 of an inch of ice in Greenville, Spartanburg, northern suburbs of Atlanta through Charlotte. So the I-85 corridor here could have a pretty devastating ice storm that could make things completely slippery Friday afternoon, Friday night into Saturday. That's the Europeans' depiction of things. Let me show you the probability of snow. This would be, let me look at my key down here, 10 to 30% chance of snow, an inch or greater in the upstate. This red would almost be a 90% chance north of I-40. So the European depicting more ice than snow. What about the GFS? All right, let me show you our second model, because as I mentioned, 3 of them now are showing the potential of snow or ice across the southeast, and where that happens is going to be key. The GFS America model shows snow beginning mid-morning across northern parts of Georgia into upstate South Carolina, even Columbia getting some snow, 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. It'd be light. By about midday, 3, 4 o'clock, some snow would develop across upstate South Carolina through Charlotte, all of western North Carolina, mixing with, at times, some ice, and that would be continuing into Saturday morning. So a little bit of a mess there, but notice where the low is. It's inland and it's weaker compared to the Europeans' depiction, so a weaker inland low. Folks, we cannot get bogged down with the details at this point. We're 6, 7 days out. Is there a storm? Yes or no? And that's what we're trying to identify. As we get into this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, we know exactly where the low is. How strong is it? How much moisture does it throw back from the Atlantic? And that will determine how much we get. Let me show you the GFS's depiction of some snow. It's got most of that snow across western North Carolina. It's got 1 to 2 inches of snow across the upstate, with 2 to 4 in the mountains. But when you look at the ice, unfortunately, the GFS 2 shows quite a bit of ice. About 3/10 of an inch of ice from Atlanta. This model is showing about a 1/2 inch of ice, northern suburbs of Atlanta. That would be crippling, folks. 3/10 to 4/10 of an inch of ice in upstate South Carolina through Charlotte, and about a 1/2 inch of ice through the mountains. GFS, like its European counterpart, showing more of an ice event. And I want to show you the wind. So I know that's fresh in everybody's mind. The wind here could be an issue. Okay, so as this low, be it it's a low pressure system, would get cranked up, as we go into Friday night, Saturday, those winds could approach, 20, 30 miles per hour at times. So power outages would be a concern. GFS shows about a 20 to 30% chance of an inch of snow in the upstate, almost a 100% chance north of Asheville. So again, it's not saying it's not going to be frozen precipitation, it's just saying it's going to be more in the ice than the snow. How about the Canadian? This is what every snow lover wants to see's dream. This is a strong low pressure coming in. It is a deep low pressure with snow. It's about 24 hours slower than every other model here. So it shows Friday night, Saturday being clear, but Saturday night, Sunday, it's got a snowstorm developing across upstate South Carolina through western North Carolina. It's got a slower low a little bit further off to sea. So it's a little bit of an outlier here, but nonetheless, it does paint some snow coming our way as we go into the Saturday night, Sunday time frame here. Again, it would be on the order of about 2 to 4 inches in the upstate through western North Carolina. As far as ice is concerned, it's got a little bit of ice with this Sunday night, Monday system, and then a southern ice, big southern ice here, back through Mississippi and Alabama, but it changes more to snow as it moves, and that surface low kind of connects off the coast right here. So Canadian model is a little bit of a mix of the two of them. So what do we have to iron out here? Well, again, I'm looking at a pattern, folks. Nobody out there can tell you exactly what it's going to do Friday, Saturday. But what we can tell you is, yeah, there's something out there brewing. And almost every single one of our 51 different varieties of the European model want to show some kind of snow developing here. I mean, there's probably 3 or 4 out of 51 that show nothing developing. And this would be a Friday night into Saturday time frame. The average of all of these show about an inch, 1/2 inch to an inch. That doesn't mean it's not going to be that's it and done. That means this European model could be showing ice in that as well. So when I look at the European model, the one that just came out, this is kind of a lot to look at, but when I show it to you, I'll kind of break it down. What it's showing you here is what's going to fall in the temperature. So the temperature here is in Fahrenheit, and as we get to this Thursday, Friday time frame, our highs are around 35 degrees right in that time frame. So what's falling? Okay, freezing rain is what the European model shows. About a 4/10 of an inch of freezing rain is what precipitation would be falling from the sky. Does that all stick? No. Some of it gets wasted on melting. but that would be a lot of ice for the area on the European model. I'm not liking what I'm seeing on the European today, but that would be very little to no snow in the upstate of South Carolina, but a lot of ice on the European. How about the GFS's depiction? It shows a little bit of snow, about an inch, maybe 2. That would be a base. And folks, growing up in the mountains, I can tell you, when you get a little bit of snow or sleet to begin with, then you get freezing rain on top of it. That just makes everything an ice rink. You give it that base to settle in on, that's when you get a problem. So this shows a little bit of a snow to begin with, about 1/4 of an inch to 3/10 of ice on the American model. This is for Greenville, Spartanburg, kind of an average of Atlanta and Charlotte. Asheville would be more snow, and I'll show you Asheville in just a moment. But this shows a little bit of snow to begin with for a base, then about 3/10 of an inch of ice, and then a little bit of sleet to end with here as it moves on through. So total QPF here, that's available moisture to spit out, depending on what the temperature is about 1.5 inches. So that's a lot of moisture to work with here. This is not a dry system on the GFS model. It is showing quite a lot to work with. And when I show you kind of the same dissect, this is a kind of an in-depth nerdy model here, but this is basically slicing the atmosphere in half. What does the temperature look like? Well, here in that Wednesday, Thursday time frame, all the way down the surface, this kind of grayish white color, we would dip below freezing. I mean, this is basically Tuesday on, we're in that white color, which is freezing or near freezing. There's a couple of blips where it gets to 35 to 38 degrees in here. You see those 2 little notches. So we would be below freezing or near it from Tuesday to, say, Saturday, Sunday. And then Saturday, Sunday, there's this little warm pocket in the atmosphere, which precipitation falls, it's snow falling down, hits this warm pocket, it melts, now it's rain, but it encounters this bothersome little layer of freezing air at the surface, which would be, unfortunately, ice. So a lot to iron out here, folks. Simply put, we need to stay dialed in on this, and as we get closer to this, I'm going to keep you posted. So stay tuned. The key here, if you're just kind of wanting to recap, is that the models are trending towards something developing Friday night time frame in the 6 to 7 day wheelhouse. So we're getting into that week or less time frame here that we need to be dialed into it. And I just want you to stay tuned. Folks, again, my promise to you is to be transparent in my forecasting. And if you appreciate that, good. But I've got to do it responsibly for you here. And you got to take that information responsibly. As the crawl here at the bottom shows you, today has been a trend that I've noticed for the past 24 hours that the models are trending toward a pretty impactful ice and snow event for millions across the South and the East going into this week, with Sunday cooling us down, the rest of the week setting the stage for what could come our way Friday. If you're new to this channel and you are just now tuning in, WYFF4, we are the place to go. You want to like this video, subscribe, let me know where you're watching from, and turn on notifications. As we get closer to the storm, I will be keeping you posted, as well as our team here at WYFF4. Our commitment to you is to keep you posted around the clock to prepare you for severe weather so you and your family can prep. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll talk soon.